Hey guys, one of the most frequently requested subjects has to do with bump keys. And this is a kit I bought from BumpMyLock. They call it the 38-piece premium bump key set. $94.99, and I don't know if you count them, but there's actually 39 keys here. So you get a little bit extra for your money, I guess. Anyway, bump keys, if you haven't ever taken a look at one, what they are normal keys that have been cut to the maximum depth at every pin location. So when we put it in and we pull it out a notch, the pins are sitting between those peaks. And then when we hit it with an object like a bump hammer or something, that little peak will slam against the pin, bouncing it up against the spring tension. It'll push it above the shear line just for a fraction of a second and allow us to open up the lock. These things work like magic. They just really work very well. These are my backup for pretty much anything I can't pick. I usually go to a bump key to try it again. They work most commonly on standard pins, but they will work on security pins, although it takes a little bit more time. In this kit, you got a little bit of everything. As you can see, all the major manufacturers are represented here. I mean, we got American keys, we have master keys, we got the entire family of Yales, we've got Quicksets and Sargents, and here's one for a best lock. We got the entire series, all the Schlags, which are very, very common on both residential and on commercial. These look like they're duplicates, but in fact this is the SC1, which is a 5-pinner, and then there's the 6-pinner brother, the SC4, right next to it. This is the SC, I think it is a 6, I can't quite make that out. I'm sorry, this is the 8, which is the 5-pinner, the 9, 6-pinner, and so forth. Kind of works out like that. A lot of different profiles here. We even have one for the Schlag Everest family. Even has the cutouts on the bottom for try to bump that guy. Anyway, like I said, they work very, very well. Let's take a look at how well they do work. I have a key and a lock here. Here's our. It's just a standard quick set. This is a 5-pin lock, but I had to take the back pin out, so it's really only 5 pins. They are all standard pins. This is what your key looks like. So I didn't want to get one where everything was even. So I got pretty good bitting on this thing. The key works beautifully. Let's see if we can bump our way into this. Let me show you how you'd go about bumping. Let's go ahead and just move this, set it right on top of everything. And maybe I got something out of whack here. I'm going to take a piece of leather, wrap it around so we don't crush it too bad, and just clamp that baby down. Let me grab the actual key. Here's the quick set from the kit. By the way, I took a look. The cuts on these, they've all been brushed, no burrs or anything on any of them, so pretty good job. All right, how do you do it? Well, traditionally, you slide your bump key all the way in. Of course, it's not going to open because it's the wrong key. Then what we do, we pull it out a single notch. And the reason you pull it out a notch is because you want those pins to sit in the low part between those peaks. And that's what we're doing. Pushing all the way in, we pull it out. Now the pins are absolutely bottomed out, and we got a little bit of play there. Now we're going to hit it with something. And let's talk a little bit about that. Traditionally, everyone wants to use one of these, and that's where I got mine. Had this for years, works great, but you don't really need a bump hammer, guys. You can use anything. Most common is to use a screwdriver. Just use the plastic handle as your hammer, and you can save the price. It works just as well as a bump hammer. If you don't have a screwdriver, you can use a dowel. These are makeup brushes I stole from my wife's vanity. It's a wooden dowel, man. It works just as good as a $12 or $13 bump hammer. So anyway, we pull this out one notch. Now the trick is, if there is a trick, you pull this over here like so. When you put the key in, and when we strike it with the object, whatever you're using, your bump hammer, when you hit it, those pins are going to jump above the shear line. At that moment, when they've cleared the shear line, you put a little tension. It's a little bit of timing involved in the traditional method. So let's go ahead and see if I can get this thing to work. Now you see how much time this has taken. Okay, I don't like to spend a lot of time. I'm always in a hurry. I'm the McDonald's kind of guy. I go through the express lane. So there's something you can do to speed things up for yourself. And let's take a look at it. The thing that's limiting us is this little shoulder right at the tip of my finger there, because that is slamming right into the front of that lock, and that means as soon as it slams, it doesn't go any further. Then we got to pull it out manually, and then we got to begin again. What if we didn't have to deal with that? And let me show you. I've got my personal bump key here, And you'll see I've taken a file. I didn't do a very neat job, but I removed that shoulder. So you hold them side by side. Let me put mine in front so you can see. I filed that entire shoulder off of it. And I made room for something else. I wanted to turn this into a machine gun. I use a little rubber ring. I bought it on eBay, and this is called a castration ring. Yes, you heard me right. They use them to castrate farm animals. It's a castration ring. It slides on there, and by the way, you don't have to buy a castration ring. This is just a rubber bumper. Your lock doesn't demand you use a castration ring. It just wants some kind of recoil mechanism. So you can use the little electric grommets. They slide on. They bounce just as well. You can go get washers for repairing faucets. All these are at Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store. You just need a piece of rubber to go between the key and the face of that lock. So when we slide it in there, it's already located out one notch because that rubber donut holds it. Now when we hit the key, we can just tap it and we get an open. You see how very quick that was? That was probably 20 or 25 clicks in just a matter of seconds. And we got an open on a 5-pin lock. That is how easy it is with bump keys. Anyway, fellas, as I said, I got this from from BumpMyLock.com, 38-piece premium bump key. I paid, let me look at my notes here, $94.99 plus about $3 in shipping. I'm going to give this away. If you'd like to win everything that you see, minus my bump hammer up there at the top, all you've got to do is go to the website and register to win it. A lot of questions about this. Why do I do it that way? Well, if you go to the website and you register, it's more secure because I'll respond with an email when you win, and I'll say, hey, you won, send me your mailing address. That way you don't have to register using your mailing address. Do I care if you use a fake one-time use email? No, I don't care. In fact, I recommend it. And that way, if our secure server is ever cracked by the Russians, the same guys that are hacking the U.S. election right now, then you don't lose a real email and start getting Russian propaganda through the mail. Anyway, fellas, there you go. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal.